Hey there. I am a first generation immigrant tech entrepreneur, and it is pretty well known that immigrants have a particularly difficult set of challenges when they come to this country and try to pursue their own startup. And those challenges I've faced personally. But I have to say that despite all the challenges, the US is perhaps one of the best places in the world for anyone to start a business and work hard. And just based on the merit and the hard work, to be given an opportunity to succeed, which I have been on multiple occasions. The people over here are very supportive. The startup system over here is so strong that regardless of where you come from, regardless of the color of the skin, regardless of who you are, you will get the support you deserve. Having said that, immigrant entrepreneurs, like I said earlier, do face a set of challenges, and I would like to share some of the challenges that they have. The first one is obviously navigating the legal and immigration issues. The issue is not so much that the immigration hurdles or the processes exist, but it is the knowledge of the different aspects of it that is kind of missing, and that can be kind of daunting. As an entrepreneur, your focus is building your startup despite all the risk, despite all the uncertainties. And on top of that, layering is a hovering feeling that you might not be given an opportunity to work or stay in this country after your visa expires, which is always a very stressful thought. And it just adds to the complexity and the nuances that are associated with being a startup founder. And hence, these legal issues and immigrant issues, just the lack of knowledge of all the possibilities that are available for entrepreneurs and startup founders to stay in this country and pursue their dreams is one of the biggest challenges. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of support to kind of get a full understanding of that. The second is access to funding. Now, even if you're not an immigrant, access to funding is always a challenge. But being an immigrant perhaps is even more of a challenge because you have to learn the cultural nuances of the country. You have to connect to people, you have to build a network, and you have to set up all these infrastructures in place to accept the financing, which to an immigrant could seem daunting. And again, the lack of knowledge is pressing in that regard, which leads to my third challenge, which is the cultural and language barriers. Again, being immigrants, we are not very well aware of the different pop culture and historical references that are important to know from as an American, which includes sports metaphors, which include historical political events that need to be well absorbed to kind of understand, and also the different nuances of different geographies of this country, which have completely different cultures and completely different way of looking at life. And just it takes time to absorb that. It takes time to understand these nuances, and hence, if you want to run a business in this country, it is very important to know all these, which again, it's not a challenge, it's just a fact of life that comes in. The fourth is regulatory and compliance challenges, again, stemming from the lack of knowledge. Basically, what are the things that you can and cannot do in your visa status? What are the things you can and cannot do in terms of setting up a business, the legal challenges? And there is so much information out there. Obviously, if you have enough resources to hire an attorney, they will be able to tell you. But as you often know, immigrant who usually come here as students do not have the financial resources to hire a law firm or kind of get inputs based on that and guide them through the process. And hence it kind of becomes a challenge in itself. From something as simple as getting a social security number can get challenging for someone, even when everything works well, even as you're a student. And hence those nuances are important, including things like filing taxes, which I was not aware of the fact that even if you don't have income, you are supposed to file taxes even as a student. So these things are very daunting and could result in an entrepreneur not being able to focus completely on the startups. And finally, perhaps the greatest challenge of them all is having the network, building the network, and understanding the market. You cannot survive without people helping you out, and you cannot survive without a support system in place to challenge you, to give you support, and to give you the platform to succeed. And hence, building the network is perhaps one of the greatest challenges, because you can imagine coming to this country at the age of 25, say. In at that age, you have to build everything from scratch. You have to build those personal connections. You have to prove yourself to be a worthy and valuable entrepreneur, and you need to use the limited time that you have, again, given the ticking time bomb in the form of expiring visas to build the network and give, not just take value, but also give value to them. And so just because of the fact that you have limited time to do all of this, it kind of comes as a challenge to immigrant entrepreneurs. But having said that, there are VC funds like Unshackled Ventures, and there are a lot of law firms who help uh, entrepreneurs navigate this murky path that is ahead of them, while so that they may have a little bit more of an opportunity to pursue and focus on their startup to grow and build a business and fulfill their American dream. Like I said earlier, despite all these challenges, America remains the best country, in my biased opinion, to follow your entrepreneurial dreams.